This photographer went from taking free photos to managing 2 studios, hosting her own events, and doing professional work for a lot of great people, even some celebrities. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Monday Mindset. I know last week we missed out, but it was because we had to drop that video with Gail Lewis. And for all those asking me about what was happening with the engagements and everything, unfortunately, for some reason, TikTok and YouTube said that it was uneligible and unoriginal content. I submitted appeal to both, and yeah, a lot of people asked me like, what do I think about this? Honestly, I haven't really had time to think because I've been working so hard with a lot of the things you do. This is one of the biggest things you're gonna deal with when you're a creator, and unfortunately, I'm no different. And as an older and wiser person, I really realized that I'm doing this for people to retain value out of, not for a view count. Let's get right back to our normally planned series, The Monday Mindset, and let's learn a little bit more about my friend Elexis. Now, this one's a very special video because I've watched her go from that photographer that was doing a lot of free work into the person that she's become. And she's got a lot of interesting feedback that I think we haven't really talked about before. We talked about things such as how she stays in school while she's doing all this, how she connects with people, and how she learned how to adapt to the community, and a lot of other great stuff. So let's get right into the video, starting with the intro.
This is Studio 424. This is more of an event space, but we do have some backdrops over here. We get a lot of rentals for some photo shoots. We have a rooftop that we're gonna show you guys. This space, I just took over managing it a month ago, so it's still on the come up. We're still working on it. So this is the rooftop. It comes with every booking for events or photo shoots. In the summer, this is gonna be lit. This is a good place to film some videos, music videos. So now we're here at Unique Empire in River North, Chicago. I'll show you guys around. This is our main entryway. We have a smaller studio right over here. We have my photo on the wall, duh. We have a studio right here, and then we have our third studio right in the back.
I'm actually happy to do this because you have one of the cooler stories. I saw you from your first event. Now look at you. You're managing 2 studios. You're killing it with the photography. What's it been like?
It's been very surreal. I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful. I do, thank God, literally, it's all God. It's not me, it's God. Getting me into doors, into rooms I've never thought I would be in, giving me opportunities I never thought I would get. It just feels really surreal, and I'm doing what I love. I wake up happy every single day. It doesn't even feel real, for real. Yeah,
so you manage 2 studios now. What's that like for you, and how did you get into like managing studios?
So I have 2 studios. One is Studio 424 in Wicker Park, which we saw, and then this one, which is Unique Empire Studios in River North. And I started at this one about a year ago. I started shooting here. I would come here pretty often, so I got to know the studio owner really well. He was running it by himself. And yeah, he just kind of brought me onto the team, asked if I would be interested in making content, working here. It's been a crazy ride ever since.
You have, you get into management, right? But most importantly, you do have your portraits or photography business.
Yeah.
I kind of know where you started, but let's take it back a little bit.
Right.
How did you get into that?
So I had a DSLR just sitting around my house, and during COVID, I was bored, and I always had ideas in the back of my head of like what I wanted to shoot. From the beginning, I've always just wanted to shoot like girls. Like that's it. Like I'm a girl's girl, love girls. So I've always just wanted to shoot girls and wanted to, you know, like women empowerment, stuff like that. During COVID, I bought a little setup off Amazon, like a $50 backdrop stand. I took my little old DSLR, it was a Canon Rebel T3i, my first camera. Yeah, I just started asking my friends to come over, and I would shoot in my living room, and I was just really consistent with it. I was doing probably like 2 a week. I would just have them come to my house. And then I made an Instagram page, Portraits by Elexis, and I started posting them. They started getting attention. People would DM me on Instagram asking for bookings. I started charging like $50 an hour. That raised to like $100 an hour. That raised to whatever. I started doing nightlife. I started really getting in like the creative scene, like going to events. Yeah, I just started getting locked in with creative, started getting more known. I was working a job, I was in school, so I ended up moving to the city. When I came to the city, I needed a studio to shoot at, and that's when I started shooting at Unique Empire, and this was the first studio I tried, and then I just kept coming here because I liked it so much. Right when I moved to Chicago is honestly when my whole life changed. So I moved to Chicago from the suburbs in like July 2022. And that's when you got me in with VIP. I started shooting at Mansion, The Forge, and then I became friends with my really good friend, DJ King Ines. And shout out her, she really put me onto a lot in the scene.
That's awesome.
She really connected me to a lot of people. And eventually I was able to quit my job, still in school, and just do this full time. Then I got the studios, and here we are.
And it looks like you're not stopping with the momentum. Like you're keeping it rolling. That's what I love. Like you always find something to do. Like this whole studio management thing, that kind of came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah. And then the other one kind of fell into my lap. I just took over managing it probably like a month ago, and I've already been getting them a lot of bookings. It's honestly just about like the marketing aspect, or like
Yeah.
whenever I'm shooting here, I'll always post like shooting at Unique Empire. You know, people want to know, the more you grow, the more people want to know what you're using and where you're going. So
Absolutely.
it's been good to be able to like grow my business while promoting other businesses.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you mentioned that you do a lot of industries, right? And like I said, I think that's where I met you at, was at the P&B Rock show. That was when
P&B
like,
Rock.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was the
wait,
first
can we
time
tell that story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so wait, this is a funny story. So P&B
Yeah.
Rock, RIP P&B. My friend got me free tickets. I was able to bring in my camera. And then I seen AJ on stage DJing, and I knew him from Instagram. So
Yeah.
I had DM'd him and I was like, what's up? Like, can you get me closer up like to P&B? I want to take some photos. And he was like, okay, bet. He like came to the crowd. I remember you came to the crowd, you came and got me.
Yeah.
And then you brought me to the front, and that's how we got locked in. I was like, I'll take some photos of you. I took some photos of him.
That was a really cool one too. I
Yeah.
remember like that was just a cool event. I know you got some good photos, and that's why I said I wanted to do this one, because I thought it was cool, because there's not too many people that you get to see grow, and I'm like all for that. I love seeing people grow. I love seeing people accomplish more things with
Yeah.
their careers, and I think you've done a lot.
If I have
Yeah.
to say anything,
Yeah.
it's just be consistent. And
Yeah.
if you have genuine intentions with what you're doing, I always loved what I was doing, you know? Like,
Yeah.
if I wasn't getting paid from this, I would still be doing photography in my free time.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
started off not getting paid. It was only 7 months ago that this became my full-time job, you know?
Absolutely.
So consistency and genuine intentions, you love what you do, you're good, it's always gonna work out.
I think something you forgot to mention too that you do is events.
Oh,
Now, you've been
yeah,
actually
yeah.
throwing events, and that's how much you've been doing.
Yeah.
What's that been like, and how do you feel like you're contributing to the community?
So I really never saw myself throwing my own events. Like, I was like, I don't think people care that much, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I would try to go to your events. Like, you would make me a photographer at your events. They were cool. When I started working at this studio, me and the studio owner started working together on photo events. So we'll just have creators come, network, we'll have a DJ, and we'll set up each studio with a different theme, and then they'll come take the photos. It was the studio owner's idea. He used to throw events here a long time ago, but when he got me on board, he was like, let's start doing it again. So obviously I have my audience, so I was able to promote it. And our
Yeah.
first event that we threw here was a Halloween event, and there was like 70 people. It was a pretty good turnout.
Oh yeah.
And it's really cool to be able to bring a community together. Like, there's so many people who I don't know in real life, but I know off Instagram,
Oh,
or
yeah.
just like who know me off Instagram, and they'll like come here, even on a day-to-day basis when I'm working, they'll come here and be like, oh, your porch is by Elexis. And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool to be able to bring people together. And a lot of people, I've been able to connect people at our events. You know, two people who, oh, you would be good friends, here you go, putting you in the same
Yeah,
room
right.
together, you know? I feel like it really is impacting the Chicago industry, which is really, really cool to see. And it's really cool to even be able to say that. But honestly, thankful for this studio and the studio owner for giving me the space to do so.
Say, what's been like one of your more surreal moments? Because I know that you've had
I feel like you know what I'm gonna say.
I do have an idea.
Yeah, so I love talking about this. So
Yeah.
my good friend King Ines, when I moved to Chicago, how I got connected with her is I just started going to her events, and she really liked me. She liked my work, so we started hanging out. We started like, I would go out with her DJing every night. Like, I became her like personal photographer, vlogging for her. She's taken me to Miami, New York. But the most craziest thing that's ever happened to me that still can't believe. Shout out Tay Money. Shout out my girl Tay Money. So there's an artist named Tay Money, if you guys know her. If you don't, she was my favorite artist in high school. And then I actually met King Ines because Tay had a show, but King was throwing it. And this was before I knew who King was. And so I met her basically through Tay Money. And King is really cool with Tay Money, so she brought me to Miami with Tay Money. I was able to shoot for Tay Money in Sexy Red because me and Tay are cool now. Basically, she connected me to my favorite artist in the world.
That's crazy.
And that is the craziest thing. I wake up every day in shock. Like, me and Tay, like, we're cool. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so it's just crazy. Like, I feel like obviously there's more I could do, but like
Yeah.
this is like, that's all I ever wanted is my friend now. And that's so crazy because that was my favorite artist, you know?
And isn't that crazy how powerful it can be, like just what you're doing?
Yeah.
Like, when you just get consistent and you do stuff. You met
Exactly.
somebody who was somebody you like looked up to almost, right?
Yeah, no, she was an inspiration for me when I was in high school for sure. Yeah.
And now you're doing work, and now you guys are friends. And
Yeah,
you've been all
she
over
brought
the
me
place.
out to Milwaukee to shoot for her in Sexy Red, which was insane. Can't believe that happened. Just being in the same room with people who you only know through the internet, or you've always like listened to their music or stuff like that. That's why connections are really important too. It's important to put yourself out there, go to different events, try to mingle with people.
Yeah.
So I'm graduating college in 2 months.
Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
That's important to know too.
Yeah.
She's doing everything she's doing in school.
It's really hard, y'all. It's really hard,
Yeah.
but almost done. Thank God. So glad. If you're choosing between what you love in school, I would say just make a pro-con list or try to do both. I don't know. I'm very happy that I went to school. I'm happy because I did want to give up school to pursue photography.
Yeah.
And I did take a year off, and I was kind of questioning, would I even go back, you know? But I'm very glad I did. I think school is important, but obviously not for everybody.
I'm glad you mentioned college because for those people that are in college, that are pursuing, I think you gave them the advice. You said, hey, make a pro-cons list. What's your bid for somebody that's trying to quit school to pursue their thing? Why should they stay?
Yeah, that's hard. I actually have a friend who's kind of in that situation right now. He took a year off school, and he's like, I'm kind of giving myself a year to focus on videography, and then I'm gonna see if I wanna go back to school or if I can make this a thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of did the same thing during COVID. When I started photography, I took a year off and I was just focusing on photography. I did the same thing. I wanted to see how far I could go. If I'm being real, I went back to school because my mom really wanted me to go back to school, and my parents never got to graduate high school, actually, so they really wanted me to get a college degree. So I really did it for them, and I'm very glad that I did, looking back on it. But somebody who's going through that, I would say it's just hard because there's always pros and cons. There's always, you don't want to regret not going back, but you don't want to look back and be like, what if I did focus on my career? I could be so much further right now.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is school will always be there.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. School, you could always go back to school. Obviously, it's not ideal, but when you're older, if you look back, you're not going to be able to get your younger years back. You're not going to be able to get that time back where right now the industry is booming, and this is the time to start a business, start videography, photography, a YouTube channel, this, and the third, you know?
Yeah.
So this time is never going to come back, but school is always going to be there.
You know what? I got a lot of respect for that because there's no right or wrong answer, I feel like. You know, some people, for what they want to do in their future, school aligns for it. Like you can't be a doctor without getting a degree.
Exactly.
You can't own a practice. You can't do certain things. You can't even like fly a plane. There's a lot of things you can't do without school.
Yeah.
So that's why I always tell people, it's kind of like, what do you want to do?
Right.
Like, where are you still discovering yourself? Because I'm anti-school. Obviously, I dropped out, my first semester and I never went back, but I didn't need it to be in the business I was in.
Exactly.
But some people do need it.
Exactly.
And I think that there's not too many people that are making the case for staying in school, and you're one of the only people I know that would make that case. You know what I mean? School
really isn't for everybody. You want to start making TikTok videos. I'm not going to say, okay, drop out of school and focus on TikTok, you know? Right. But if you really genuinely love what you're doing and you could see yourself having a future in that career and you're ready to put in the work, as long as you do that, you're good.
Well, thank you. Make sure you guys follow Elexis. I'll put the studios down here as well. If you guys need some photos, she's definitely the one to tap into. Very talented.
Somebody take me on tour.
Somebody take her on tour. She wants to
That's
be on
my
tour.
goal. That's always been my goal.